What's up, guys? Back here in a timely fashion again, somehow, with another update for you guys. This is a CD collection update that I've been kind of working on for a little bit, trying to listen to this stuff a bunch of times enough to be able to talk about it in any way that's not just me being a bumbling fool like usual. So we're going to get into it. As you guys have probably noticed over the past year, I've taken it upon myself to dive headfirst into the unsung heroes within the Christian spectrum of extreme metal in particular, because I think it's unacceptable that bands can be this good and get no recognition for the most part. So that's one of the big reasons I've been wanting to do this. So I have this update and then at least 2 more, if not 3 more updates of straight Christian metal stuff, and then I have normal regular stuff also sitting over there too, which will be sometime in there. Regardless, finally got some time to film a video after I took a shower home from work. We are drinking this beer, which is Bear's Choice IPA from Tighthead Brewing. My band was playing at this place. I wanted to grab a to-go pack of the beer I was drinking while we were playing, and they didn't have it, so I grabbed this. So first taste of this, Australia. It's delicious. It's just an IPA, but it's delicious. Big fan. That's usually my summer drink. So in the background, we are listening to Ether by Skepticism. This is an EP from this absolute institution of funeral doom. I actually like this more than I like Stormcrow Fleet, which might be an unacceptable statement to a lot of you guys out there, but I would highly recommend you check this EP out if you have not ever heard it, because it's absolutely stellar funeral doom. All right, so this is a straight black metal update, and they're all Christian bands from various countries, a lot of Scandinavian bands, a lot of Northern European bands. We're going to start off with this band called Frostharder. I have 2 releases from them. This is the EP Varg, and this is the album Frostharder, which is the only one. So this band formed in Norway in 1997, so a little late to the party as far as the black metal scene goes, but still pretty in it. Not the most productive band in the world, because this is their 3rd release ever, and it's their 2nd EP from 2007, so that was 10 years to get it a demo and 2 EPs. And this is great, man. So it's got a pretty cool look to it, nothing too amazing. The demo right before this is pretty well known as far as I understand in the Christian black metal side of things. This is out on Momentium Scandinavia. So this is 3 tracks. The first 2 are Frostharder tunes, and the last one is a cover of the band called One Bad Pig, which I'm completely unfamiliar with. So the first 2 records are kind of this atmospheric black metal with a heavy tinge of like melodic black metal in it. I really like the song Tortured in particular of the 2 songs. The title track Varg is cool too, but Tortured's really good, even though it's like almost a 12-minute song. But the One Bag Pig cover is called Thrash Against Sin, which I'm not familiar with that band at all, but listening to that, it makes perfect sense as to what's to come with the next record. Decent black thrash on that one, but I really like the first 2 more atmospheric sides of the Frostharder catalog. And that kind of leads us into this one, which is the one and only full-length from this band, which took 21 years for them to actually record a full-length record, which is insanity. But yeah, so 2018, first full-length record, and the only full-length record. It's kind of a longer album from, I think it's 52 minutes long. Really good black metal. It's pretty heavily inspired by the likes of Dark Throne, I would say, especially like the Panzerfaust era of Dark Throne, maybe a little bit of groove here and there. Cool songwriting for sure. Definitely got some thrashy elements to it. Like I said earlier, the One Bad Pig cover makes good sense if that's what that band is. This one's out of Nordic Mission, which is kind of a label that is pretty useful or pretty commonplace when it comes to this style of black metal. Really great stuff, I would say. It's not my favorite thing in the world. I actually probably like the EP more, but Frostharder self-titled is also a pretty good release. Next, a band a lot of you guys probably have heard of is the band Frost Like Ashes with their album Tophet from 2005. This band is from Kansas City, Missouri. They're formed in 2001. And the guys, some of these guys are in the band called Eljabor, which some of you guys probably might have heard of in the past. But yeah, it's their first and only full length from '05. And it's just preceded by Pure Is the Blood Over the Snow or something like that, EP from 2 years before that. This is really, really intense black metal. It's got a lot of dynamics to it, which I find pretty interesting because I feel like that's a big issue with the more intense and blasty black metal. This does have some blasty elements, but it does kind of go in between. It's got some really good groovy parts to it, I would say. Kind of makes me think of a bit of a death metal influence for it. And I think the keys are really, really good on here. It's pretty keyboard laden, but I don't think enough to call it a symphonic band or anything like that. It's definitely black metal, but with a lot of that kind of flavor to it, that heavy melodic black metal with kind of a good keyboard dose of keyboards on it. Really, really cool. Yeah, Frost Like Ashes. If you guys haven't heard this one, really, really cool band. Next, I have 3 albums from one band that all of you guys are familiar with, but this is Antestor. I have Martyrium, The Forsaken, and Omen here. I have a couple of their other releases behind me, but this is the only full lengths I needed still to get. So this is their second album, if that makes any sense whatsoever. This was recorded in 1994. And not released till the year 2000, except for a couple of promos that were released respectively in 95 and then an unofficial release in 97. Therefore, it came out before the Return of the Black Death, but unofficially. So I don't know, you could call it their first record or their second record. I really don't care. I mentally classify this as their first album, especially because it's not really a black metal album like Antestor would come to be for the rest of their career. It's got a ton of really slow, doomy parts. It's very, very styled after 1994. It is styled, you get what I mean. I don't speak English very well, apparently. Yeah, so it's definitely like death doom with a heavy black metal influence. It's got a really good re-listenable quality to it. I found it really hitting the spot the first time I listened to it, and I really liked it the last couple of times I listened to it. But yeah, it's got a pretty pronounced mixture of all 3 of the black death and doom genres. There's a lot of keyboards all over this record, which some people might be put off by, but I'm actually a really big fan of that in a death doom style. In fact, if you don't have it, I'm a little disappointed. So this is right up my alley. One real complaint I have is a little bit about the production. It's decent, but it's really lacking thickness in bass. So if that doesn't bother you and you just have to turn up the bass a little bit on your setup, I think it's not that bad. So definitely check this out if you want a wee bit different style for your Antestor stuff that would fit in with your moods for other bands of the death doom style. Next is The Forsaken. This is their 3rd album from 2005. Check out that Necrolord album cover. So I would say that this is more than likely my least favorite album in the Antestor 4-album catalog. Yeah, I hate to say it, but it is. This has Hellhammer playing the drums from Mayhem on it, which is ironic because there's been talk of like Euronymous and Varg apparently sending death threats to this band back in the day or some other garbage like that, whatever those weenies were up to. But yeah, so this album it's kind of suffering from its own style a little bit. There's a little too many guitar solos for my taste, and I don't mind guitar solos at all, man. I think they're really cool, but this doesn't really fit with this style of really cinematic, melodic black metal bordering on symphonic black metal. This in particular has like a Metallica guitar tone, and I don't mean like the first 3, I mean like the Injustice for All guitar tone, which that's not really my thing. That on top of all of these bluesy guitar solos, it's just kind of it ruins the immersion a bit. And also this is a little bit more, it's a really cinematic album. I would say it's their most immersive atmosphere out of all of the records, but it kind of suffers from being a little too cinematic for its own good because it's so immersive that it's just kind of distracting, if that makes any sense. because when it kind of kicks back into like a really heavy metal part, it just, I don't know, it feels a little jumbled, but I really hope to change my opinion on it further. Antestor is The Forsaken. And then the last one from Antestor is Omen. This is their 2012 most recent record, so it's been 13 years since we had a Antestor album, so we're about due. Because it was 13 years between The Forsaken and Omen, so hopefully we'll get one eventually. Who knows? So this is, yeah, their last record. It's a lot more listenable than that last one, I would say. It's also not super impressive compared to the Martyrium, Kong's Blood, and The Return of the Black Death. I'm not gonna lie to you, but it's much more listenable. It's got a really, it's really up to the intensity compared to that last one, and I don't know. It's just a little bit samey sometimes. It kind of blends a lot into the melodic black metal crowd, I would say, which is, you know, kind of what Antestor is just a melodic black metal band, but they have a really good way of putting their songs together, especially like the first black metal record is great, and Kong's Blood. So to kind of hear this, it kind of fits with a band that's been at it for 20 years at this point, basically, and they're just like, yeah, I know what I need to write, and I'm gonna make a record out of it. That's basically what this album kind of feels like. So it's pretty good, not amazing. I'm not overly impressed with this Antestor record, but it is cool. Omen by Antestor. Next, another band from Scandinavia, Crimson Moonlight. This is their EP Abaddon from 2023. This band formed in 1997. They're from Sweden. And yeah, this is their most recent release after their most recent full length, which I think I have behind me somewhere. But yeah, so this is a decent EP, clocking in around 15 or so minutes. And it's a great swift punch in the face. It's really, really blasty black metal with a good, decent amount of melody to it, but it's not like hyper melodic. It's really, really aggressive, and I like that about it. You know, it's not really my style a lot of the time, but it really hits super hard because it's so quick. This band started off as really symphonic and kind of more in line with that early Antestor material, but this album is just vicious, dude. It reminds me of a lot of the Swedish bands. I've kind of described this band to people as if Watain wasn't awful. So if you like good black metal that's really blasty, I would highly recommend listening to this, and also the lyrics are super dense. If you're somebody who knows any theology, these guys are pretty intense. They're Orthodox, so they have a lot of talk like theosis and stuff like that. Really, really great EP, and I would highly recommend you check out Crimson Moonlight if you have not done so. Only got a couple more here for you. We got two from a Norwegian black metal band called Drottnar. This album is Stratum, and this album is Monolith. There's something about these bands that are incredibly unproductive, because this band started in 1997, and Stratum is their second record from 2012. So it took them 15 years to put out 2 albums. You guys gotta get on it, man. I don't know, you gotta have like another job or something, because otherwise I have no idea how that would make any sense. But it's really, really good. This is a crazy album. Check out how they're dressed. They're dressed like military officers, which I think sketches some people out, but I think you'll be okay, because that's kind of their thing, is like politics and whatever. Drottnar is really, really out there. This album in particular, I think, is really out there. It's a really obtuse bit of black metal, tons of techie parts, changing time signatures. You know, it's really progressive in a lot of ways, and I guess you could possibly even dip it into the avant-garde style. What record is this, or what label is this on? I don't remember what label this is on, but it's really, really cool, man. I would highly recommend you check out Drottnar's material, especially this one. I haven't heard the really early stuff, which as far as I understand is probably a little more normal black metal. But yeah, super obtuse, kind of wild, really atonal in a lot of ways, really dynamic. Drottnar's album, Stratum. And then this is Monolith. A lot of these bands suffer from probably their extended periods of inactivity, I would imagine, is something that you could attribute to the mediocrity of some of their later releases. This is Monolith from 2019. This is their 3rd album, so they did not put out a record for 7 years between Stratum and Monolith, which is incredible. That is a long time. I couldn't imagine being in a band and not doing anything. But whatever, that's not what I'm here for. So basically what this is a compilation of 3 EPs called Monolith that they put out. They did Monolith 1, Monolith 2, Monolith 3, and this is all of those EPs put together into one album. And it's a little forgettable, I'm not gonna lie to you. That Drottnar album I was just talking about is incredible. This one is pretty forgettable. You kind of can take it or leave it in a lot of ways. It feels like a bit of throwaway. You know, the EPs really feel like extras from an album that they were working on, and we never got the album because it's been 6 years since we had this. So I don't know what the deal is with all that, but it seems like the late 20-teens were not super kind to these 90s Christian black metal bands. But yeah, Monolith is cool. It's just not the most amazing thing in the world. And lastly, this is a band called Slechtvalk that I've been wanting to talk about because their stuff's not super easy to get. This is an album called Where Wandering Shadows and Mist Collide. Weird album cover, kind of cool, kind of looks like AI art, I guess, but this is before AI art existed. This band formed in the year 2000 in the Netherlands, and it's just like, it's a really good black metal album. It's kind of different, it's a little out there. So the 5th record, really heavy melodic black metal. Definitely borders on the melodic death metal side, I would say, especially when it starts getting a little gallopy and things like that. I definitely could hear a little bit of influence from things like the mid-era of Unleashed or Amon Amarth, where it's like hyper melodic, but it's really gallopy and kind of heavy and groovy. It's a cool record, man. Especially for the 5th album, it's cool to hear them progressing. But, you know, they have a lot of good use of keys on here, but it's also not really symphonic at all. It's just got a good emphasis on it, and I think it fits really well with this melodic black metal with a tinge of melodic death metal. But just the same, a lot of the time these bands really peak early, and this band is still good, but it's not the most amazing thing in the world. This is definitely not The War That Plagues the Land or Falconry. It's just a really good bit of kind of melodic blackened death metal. Somewhere in there. I would say it's way more black metal than it is death metal, but there's obviously an influence of your melodic death metal bands, which is cool. Not mad about it, not gonna lie to you. Regardless, I'm gonna call it at that, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you on the next one. Keep it greasy.